zoning should be in there right.
It's huge. Okay, here's why. Oh,
And considering that this isn't like a centralized downtown, that it does butt up against people's houses, so.
oh yeah, I see what you're worried about.
Is what way does the zoning code?
Zoning regulates parking. And so in the commercial district, those have not been looked at, and I know everybody comes for a parking special use for a reason. So other municipalities that are a little ahead of us because they have more resources, like Milwaukee and some surrounding communities, they will look at them and for the time, their code will be form-based rather than, you know, a specific use-based. So there are ways to assist. You can regulate things that you want to promote and regulate the things you don't want to promote. But we've just not looked at that, and we've been made aware of a couple of zoning regulations that definitely are not promoting what we want to promote. Does that make sense? Or hindering the type of development we want.
So you could say outdated zoning and parking regulations. Since
Yep, you could definitely include that. Yep.
The second from the bottom.
So in your parentheses, say parking. I also wonder about our programs for economic development. So getting to your subsidy, but that's CDA now, but and village. But so we don't. I always argued that we, as a CDA member and a BID member, should be doing loan guarantees or some other economic incentives for the businesses, not the real estate. Because we don't have any for the businesses. All we have is a facade grant. And so I do feel it's worth looking into. So under, what did you just say? What was this one we were just talking about? It's outdated regulations.
Right.
I feel like, and I don't know how to say it, but programs, business-related programs, we just have none. And I don't mean about giving out money for a big developer to come in. I'm talking about the small business who you're trying to attract because that's what our community wants, and they can't get that loan from the bank. And how do you bridge that, or how do we need to look at something that deals with those smaller businesses. What'd you do?
I don't think that's our problem. There's lots, having been in business for 25 years, there are a lot of ways for companies to finance startups.
There are, but Small Business Association is a federal program and they help.
I know, but would those things fall under the next question, economic development actions, as opposed to, what are the issues and challenges that we have right now?
Well, I think it's an issue and a challenge, but I'm okay with not including it.
Combine it as things that are outdated and not been reviewed.
Yeah, I was just thinking of putting it in outdated regulations and programs.
Works for me, and they're both in there.
Is that okay with you guys?
Economic programs.
Yeah, business-related programs or something like that. All right, and then the last two, I'm sorry.
We're still at low daytime population in Texas.
I don't know about taxes, but the daytime, I would drop the taxes for now on economic development.
So then I have outdated zoning and parking regulations and programs, a spread out non-contiguous commercial district, condition of properties and configuration of parcels.
Wait, hold on, I would say outdated regulations, and then in parentheses say zoning, comma, parking, comma. Like, and then and programs.
Okay. Then number 2, and then number 3 is low daytime population.
I think that's perfect. Anybody else? All right, seeing none, we're gonna move on. Next one, economic development actions. What is the most important thing the village should start doing as it relates to economic development? Oh, good. Number 1 here, do we have any duplicates? Let's see, then we have 4. Okay, so we have review our regulations, review other communities, I'm assuming economic development activity, build character. When you say form-based, is that the zoning?
I think it had to do with something I said, because, and then form-based is something you came up with, but I said, I remember we discussed the concept of like having a uniform aesthetic to our
So that is
development.
zoning. Did you do that through zoning? Okay. So does that combine with development regulations?
Yes, yep.
I don't know if it needs to say the word more frequently. I would just say we need to update them
Or regularly.
regularly, yeah, regularly.
So you say review development regulations to build character.
Review and change.
With for
Updates.
character
Or create, or-
preservation goals, or, you know what I mean, just say
Right, to-
review,
Preservation.
yeah, including preservation, aesthetics, whatever.
With the goals of, right, so you're reviewing and updating your regulations with the goal to preserve your history, create uniformity and character, and I have to add something there, it's something about be more attractive to commercial tenants or commercial development. Because your regulations, that would be parking, or that could be, but those are the 3 reasons I would review our zoning
Well, I
code.
mean, it's not the point of the question,
Yeah.
what are we suggesting to be more attractive in the first place?
Yep.
So like, I don't know. if we
Updated
state
zoning
that.
code. No, I think you have it right though. It is to review your regulations, review and update your regulations with the goal of preservation, to make sure you're preserving what you want to preserve. You're creating uniformity and character, and with the goal of being more attractive to commercial tenants.
I put build character, especially aesthetics, as my #1 priority, because
That's in there.
one could say the light horse is,
You're talking about design.
then, but,
And that was part of like,
Yeah, character.
the very
I mean,
specific
it might
aesthetics.
be mixed use, it might be.
So that might be design regulations more so than zoning.
Yeah, but that comes under aesthetics, character and aesthetics,
And preservation. I mean, that's all part of
Right.
an
Okay.
aesthetic
and not
concept.
exceeding.
But-
Or design.
I'm trying to be as specific, I apologize, yes,
That's okay.
I understand you're talking about the character and the look of it.
Right, so you could say
The
it's a
character.
successful project, or.
But I'm just trying to say, be as very specific, because people, even on CDA, don't understand what that, how
So
you get
one-
there. I
So
would-
we should split that up into 2.
I would say to both, I say, update your zoning code for, and what we can do in our zoning code, and then update your design regulations
Mhm.
for. Those are 2 separate things. They're both regulations, but it is important too. And then where do we want to put them? So design regulations, I would say for preservation and character. And
Uniformity.
uniformity might go under zoning.
And it's good aesthetics, because sometimes that just what I'm building, but.
Well, what defines good aesthetics? But yes, update your design regulation. I don't know what,
Right.
but,
But
For
that is the question. I mean,
Yeah.
when design review looks at it, or when they're looking at designs, that's where you would put in the uniformity aspect of it.
is that true? Or you're the planner? I think it's
I would
zoning.
argue that design and zoning are the same thing, because design
Okay.
guidelines are within the zoning code. I mean,
No, because.
That's where it references to
So
design
far,
guidelines.
okay, so like the design, the residential design code guidelines, where do those fall?
Those did not get adopted.
Right.
I understand, but if they
The
did,
commercial ones are in zoning
Yeah.
code.
oh, they are, okay.
Correct.
All right, never mind then, I apologize, I thought they were separate.
Right,
Yep.
so I'm sure some place like Cedarburg, which everybody loves to go to, has some kind of zoning, like, no, you're not gonna rip out this historic building and put up some modern thing.
Yep, but I was thinking of like Milwaukee, because the design review board, there's zoning, but they also have additional design review regulations that they utilize during their reviews, so ours are just in our zoning code. Okay, because they are separate there.
And,
Yes.
and we've got all these things in the zoning code, and I see the design review board override them time after time. You know,
Well, have you looked at our zoning code? I can.
well, I'm just saying, whether it's a mural sign or a lighted sign, they don't
It's fine.
follow them very strictly, so sometimes you have to wonder if the paper they're written on, because.
Well, that would be beneficial to economic development, I'm just saying.
Right.
Because more regulation would mean that.
Our
Yes, I'm
goal
just-
is to, we're gonna attract business by having this place that people wanna come to, because we care about preservation, we care about
Right.
aesthetics.
I understand what
You
you're
have
saying.
to have.
It's like Cedarburg, you track what you allow.
regulations.
And so if you want to allow, if you're trying to attract smaller businesses with smaller, contiguous storefronts that have some small signage, then that would be updating your zoning code. For what purpose? Like, how do you, for character,
To build character, preserve the character, preservation of, it's like a firehouse.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say that.
I mean, I think I'm hearing the general concept is that we need to update zoning and design regulations to preserve character,
Perfect.
aesthetics, and preservation.
Improve aesthetics.
Um,
To improve, to bolster, maintain, something like that, to protect something. Okay,
Yes,
everyone okay with that?
Yep.
All right, and then we have, what else should we do? So,
There's the review of the communities and collaborate with the schools.
now they collaborate with the school district for economic development. What would that do? What would you do there? I guess that's taxes. I mean, that really is all taxes, right? Other than that, we don't.
I think reviewing other communities is important. I think sometimes people tend to be insular and not know, okay, what's working here, what's working there, that would be my third.
I would
We're
add
looking
to
for
that.
one here, though.
I know,
It's most important. I would argue reviewing other communities comes with the review of the regulations.
So do
because
I.
At that point, you're going to be looking elsewhere.
Or I was gonna add to it, maybe it is a separate, but you could do, I feel strongly that we explore programs, economic development programs, and we review other communities of what they're doing. So like when I was on CDA, me and Mike Dawson, another CDA member, drove up to Menominee Falls to look at their loan guarantee program. So we're reviewing other places to see if they're successful, what it takes. So I don't know if I want to put it there, but
We could put that under number 2, what do we do that we need to do better? I mean, there are other questions that maybe we could.
I think it's under 4. What is the most important thing that we should start doing? We should review our regulations. I would argue that we need to look at programs. We have none.
Just like I say, under 4, there's several things, there's 3 questions. So doesn't it all the
Oh, I see
other?
what
Right, one is start, one is do better, and then the next one is
Yeah.
stop.
We're thinking start. Yeah, start. We need programs. We have none. But I guess start. I guess we need to start reviewing our zoning books. We haven't done that in so long. Would it fall there as all of us? I think it does.
And I think to the point of the struggle of where to put it, I feel like many groups can put a lot of answers in different places. I think it's just important perhaps to at least get it somewhere so that when the board and CD are reviewing it,
Right.
it sparks their mind. Maybe they disagree that it's start or do better or stop, but at least
It's
they'll
there.
know your perspective that it's important enough to include.
I'm just thinking if we can only choose one, you've got one.
Oh,
right
does it,
now.
are we only allowed to choose one?
It says most important, correct?
Okay. All right, well then I'd have to go zoning without you guys.
And, yes, that's what, I
Okay,
updated
okay.
zoning and design regulations.
Sorry, thank you, Commissioner. Did not realize there was one. So if we went to number 2, it says, what is one thing the village does related to economic which it needs to do better? Okay, I can put my programs there.
Correct, because that's what we have on here.
We do.
Be more
Oh, facade
traditional
grant?
Facade grants.
I certainly would
certification.
not indicate just facade grant. That's part of, that is a program, but that program has been reviewed 3 times in the last 2 years, and I just don't want to waste so much more time on it.
Program specific enough for
Yeah, program, review and develop programs.
developed programs?
Yeah, like review current and develop new program, or reevaluate
Try some new ones.
and create, or develop, or something, new programs or programs for business development. So there is a difference, and I want the planning commission to weigh in on this, because I don't want to say it the wrong way if abuse is coming from us. My preference is that it's business development, but there is real estate development as well. And so it will be very important for us to specify, because, and I'm okay if people don't agree with me, I just want to hear what you have to say, that to date, all of the programs that we have been real estate related, so they develop the box, right? And the actual property. Bye, guys. But what I was saying is the business related programs, in order to get the tax.
We do, and we have had a loan program that was seldom utilized.
We do, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, it is so, There's no way, it's not a great, it's very complicated. You'd rather just go to the bank. I mean, we've
Sure,
got
so, but just to be fair, we did
We
have
did
that.
have one that's rarely used.
So we could be doing it
We
better.
have a ton of money sitting there and nobody will use it because it's, you might as well just go.
I feel like you could easily help new businesses using some of, if you had access to money, then using the money, like the first few months are hard, just to help with that whole
Startups.
marketing aspect of like, here's a new business in Shorewood, just to help them, sort of, if,
There's a lot of things that could, and that's why
So
I
those
think
are
your
part of the
point
programs that you're talking
looking,
about?
Yep, looking at other communities, and because like, we don't know, when I sit on CDA, I said loan guarantee, nobody has any idea here, because we just don't have any of those. So it'd be very beneficial to look at what Milwaukee has for businesses, what other North Shore communities, I don't think North Shore has a lot, but.
Could we phrase it in a way to review current economic/business programs and develop ones that.
Modify and/or develop new.
Develop new ones that better fit the current market climate.
Right.
I mean,
or
We only have a certain
better
amount of money.
compete with, or better compete with other communities.
right.
Correct. I would just say, review your current programs and continue, modify, and/or develop new by also review, doing whatever you want to say.
Yeah, to be competitive with other communities, because you don't want to give away more than, anyone else is, but you want
Except
to
people will
be,
say that's why you have to give TIF.
but you want to be at some,
And it's business related rather than the real estate.
I mean, a lot of businesses fail because they're undercapitalized, so.
Or they can't get the first loan. That's why
Well,
many
that's
small
what you
businesses
say.
cannot open.
However money you get your holders.
Or even give them a guarantee. Okay, anyways, so I just wanted to know if you guys, were you okay with business related, or do you want me to include, do you want Bart to include business and real estate related?
Well, the second half is about housing, so.
No real estate meaning commercial buildings. So there's financial
right, I
incentives.
see what you're saying.
Yep, it's very important because when you get to CDA, you'll see why.
I would agree with business over real estate development.
Well, you could do both. I'm not trying to persuade
No,
anyone.
I would agree with that. I feel like real estate development is one of those things that's hard to predict, like Bay Shore, or, and it's
Yeah.
hard to, you don't want to be the ones, whereas businesses is a small investment, but it's more program related.
That is true. Okay. Anybody object to that? So if you could just specify, business
I
related.
have reevaluate current economic development and business programs and develop new programs for business development to compete better. I can word that more eloquently, but that's.
I'll help you on that one. That doesn't sound right, but you got the point.
So what part doesn't sound right?
It just sounded weird, but it's to review your
To
current.
be more competitive with other communities,
Right.
would be a,
Business-oriented or business-related programs
yeah.
is really the word. Or programs targeted to businesses or something like that where it's specific. All right. Do we only get one for that too?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Well, I think the stop sort of goes to real estate. I mean, that was the larger discussion with.
This is one thing we should stop. Okay, let me see. Developers grants and tax rebates, that's the same thing, isn't it? So, okay, so a multifamily building, as you're saying, is commercial development.
Correct.
Okay, then I have a problem with just saying stop TIF grants or loans, or rebates, because I do agree with to build luxury apartments, but if you were to fund, and if our housing study shows that we don't have a lot of affordable housing, so say you wanted to fund affordable senior housing, that is a market failure. You cannot build that without a grant or tax credits from the state. It's just a known fact, because the rents aren't high enough to cover and to have a profit of above 10%. So developers don't build. It's just the market. But So if we say, what's the one thing we should stop doing, and something like that comes about, I don't know that I would want that to be my number one.
Well, I think that goes back to my point earlier about Shorewood does not have a big pool to do those kind of things. I'd be open to, say, us staff, someone help assisting a real estate developer, senior housing, or someone else apply for state or federal
Well,
grants.
they know how to do that.
Yeah, state or federal grants, but not necessarily
Or tax credits, actually.
taxpayers having to,
I have a different view on that one. I don't mind. I wouldn't mind.
I know, but there's residents, especially as our population ages, we're trying to improve our own properties, so it's really a difficult concept to say like, oh, sure, take some of our tax dollars and give it to a developer who's probably already making more than we are, but let's
Oh,
help
yeah.
them get richer with public
That's a different
dollars.
thing. You
It's a
can
different
limit
philosophy.
profit.
Yeah.
You're just not used to, the village doing that because we don't, but
Yeah,
there
I
is a
would
way to
say
say.
Shorewood, I think that's, especially after the last, having tip number one open for 20+ years, that would be a hard sell.
Tip number one could have closed.
So, I mean, I'm all for tip for, if we're gonna develop an area and we need infrastructure, let's improve the road, let's get the sewer in, let's put the power in, but just to like help the developer make more money.
But here's my thing I'm just trying to say to you, and I know that's hard to understand. Infrastructure is a public good, therefore we would pay for it, right?
That part.
Affordable housing, whether it's for seniors or not, is a public good that the private market will not provide. So that is the only reason I'm saying for myself, I believe exactly what you believe, that government money should stay with government programs, whether it be, things that the private market doesn't provide, which is trash and roads. But one thing that the private market doesn't provide is affordable housing. That's on the list, and so I don't have a problem with that.
We did talk about senior housing, oh, I'm sorry,
Yes.
in the housing section, so I'm just wondering.
Well, because he's classifying multifamily as commercial, right? So then I felt like we need to clarify.
I was just gonna say, okay, so this might be unpopular, but I don't think Shorewood is in a position at this point to say, oh, we will subsidize this housing or that housing. I think financially, I would rather see it tighten its belt, period, regardless of larger goals, and wait till it's in a position to be able to.
But I don't know that that's factual, what you're saying. I want to pass it on. I understand. that
Well, I
if it
mean, our
was,
taxes
that-
keep going up. I'm saying,
Right.
like, unless it's in a position, because if the taxes continue to,
I'm going to give you an example though. We just got back from the housing study. Sorry, I just have to give this one example. We just got back from the housing study. The consultants, who I thought were excellent, right? Did you?
Yeah,
They
they're
were
great.
fabulous. And one of the things they told us is, and I believe them, and if you ask any developer, they'll say the same thing. Because we have no housing supply, our housing supply is very low, because you see how hard it is to buy a house. And that if we do not create more housing, whether it be a duplex turning into a threeplex, but just more supply in a certain way, it doesn't matter which way, our housing costs are going to continue to skyrocket because of, I can't remember the exact rationale, but that is a fact. So one thing that could be suggested is I'm just going to give you an example, subsidize affordable housing if you needed to, if there was a demand for it, and then the single family lower cost housing opens up if it's for seniors and seniors move out. Then you have new supply of single family homes available. And so if you're talking about the housing and taxes and getting too expensive here, there are ways that experts understand that I necessarily don't know exactly, but that you would consciously think that doesn't make any sense. But if we do nothing, I do believe that we're in for it, and our housing is going to become way too expensive for anyone.
And with that conversation, it's the same thing of, basically, commercial development helps shift the tax burden from
It does.
single-family homeowners to commercial properties. And so in that respect, it also helps the tax burden on residential
Right, like if an
ownership.
office development came and you wanted to subsidize an office development for the employment, right? Just say, I'm not saying we would, or I would, that would bring the commercial tax base, residential tax base goes out the door because of schools, because of, all the services we provide residential. Commercial tax base, it's a well-known fact in economic development, you get more income than you do expenses. So more residential does not necessarily mean more income to the village, because there's so many services you provide. More commercial always means income, and it lowers the tax rate. So I do agree with all of you around this table probably that no one should give out a TIF and wait 20 years to try to get any taxes back. You know, there are clauses that you can put in for those things, but, and I don't believe making developers rich, but I caution to say halt all incentives, because I don't know where we're gonna get, I don't know how we're gonna stop the increase in costs for our village.
Well, for this number 2, among the choices that we had discussed last time, maybe one way to think about all of that is the second from the bottom, proactively plan redevelopments. So rather than waiting, you know, we've got buildings that are not being fully utilized, you know, maybe that could encompass, you know, taking a building, proactively planning to put senior housing, or proactively planning to make it a better space.
In other areas, they call those redevelopment plans.
Right.
So you draw a little boundary around something and you just say, like Park East and downtown Milwaukee, when we took the freeway down, you drew a boundary and say, here's the things we'd like to see.
I mean, I'm all for, you know, letting the market take care of the market, but, so this goes kind of against what I normally think, but, you know, to proactively plan redevelopments, whether it's that North Shore that's vacant, maybe some other properties in the village that could be used better for, as you said, senior housing or for other.
It would be very beneficial,
Projects.
and that would be really an incentive policy, right? I mean, that's what CDA is going to be working on, more so than anything.
Correct. So are we back at number 2, or are we still on what we stopped doing? Because
Oh,
I
I think it's okay
shifted.
to not put
Oh,
anything.
I'm
in.
sorry.
We already have nothing that.
Are you talking about stop?
Oh, yeah, I'm
We
sorry.
don't have anything to
I was
say
still
stop.
thinking number 2.
I don't disagree with, I think, I
I
don't.
think we have a stop. We have a
You're
stop, like giving out tips without, you know, and like.
Without a public purpose.
Without public purpose or without like the clawbacks and, you know, without,
Adequate protections.
protections for the village.
I do think without a public purpose is very important, although public purpose could be anything, but
Yeah.
That says it all.
Okay.
I think
we get
that-
one.
yeah,
Wait, so public purpose or adequate protections?
both.
And
Oh.
Okay.
So what would that be again?
And I would
Stop
include,
using TIF without public
our housing
purpose or
study
adequate
said,
protections.
do not give out money for luxury apartments at this time. I mean, downtown Milwaukee has 15 years ago they wrote that, we're not giving money for luxury apartments other than their market rate. So I don't know if you want to include it, I know I saw it in the bullet here, so.
Without public
CDA will be
purpose?
developing a TIF
Public
policy.
purpose or adequate protections?
So if you have an opinion, you might want to say it. What'd you say?
She just asked me to re-clarify. So I have stop using TIF without public purpose or adequate protections.
Without a public, okay,
Without public purpose.
to fund anything but, or something like that, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have to be that specific.
All right.
All right, what about special events? That's funny.
What?
I don't think it's the most important right
Yeah, it's not the most.
now. Yeah, okay, we can go on to the next one.
5-1.
What is the most important economic development outcome that you'd like to see the village achieve in 1 to 3 years? Economic development, okay. This is where, okay, so taxes. An economic development goal, one of the goals is if you build or rebuild or create more supply, that you may achieve lowering taxes. So more commercial, that is one goal. So that could be one, if you wanted to try to control taxes.
Well, the outcome that I would like to see was the very first one. You know, having more retail and restaurants locate here without having to pay them to come here. And so that means
No, wait a minute,
control taxes.
but we haven't paid any of the businesses to come, we've paid the developers to build the space, right?
We've paid them to build out their, or to improve their space. I mean,
Different, so,
that's, you know, rubbish by when they come here, you know, a lot of people can come here if we didn't give them a loan.
loans are different, more shops and restaurants choosing to live in the village without having to pay them. We haven't paid them. What would we lose on taxes?
5 million, 5.5 million we gave to general capital.
That was for the building, not for the
For the land.
business. Just say it wasn't for the business.
I know, I'm just saying that still, that's how they develop.
I see what you're saying. So you just would phrase it as, without having to pay the developer.
Developer or building, I mean,
That's the same thing.
we spent $80,000 on a facade grant for the records that, lasted a year.
Okay, then so you're saying without having to subsidize the physical development.
Right.
Because it's different than without having to pay the business. Because businesses aren't getting anything right now. It's just the physical development of the space that's getting money.
Right, but it seems, I think what she's saying is it seems that they're counting on Shorewood, like, I think Blue Zag, right, was not like, it was built and then there was a grant to.
Not for the business. Because
Right, it wasn't for the business,
Right.
but
It
the
was for the space.
developers are counting on getting money to build it out for whoever seems to come there versus they should pay for it, to build it out, to
Okay.
rent it.
So,
Not all, so some businesses pay for their own improvements,
Right.
right? So if, and I think in Blue's Eggs, the case was the grant, I think, was applied for by Blue's Egg.
for the, under a facade grant, it was denied because it wasn't a facade.
They got it for the windows,
10,000.
they got it for the doors on the side.
They got a
So, yeah.
$10,000 facade grant, which is what the program says. But other than that, it's not a build out. They didn't get money for build out for a tenant. They did not get money for the business, like get loan guarantee for startup cash from, they didn't get, so it was the money for the physical development is what I think both of you are saying. Because we have given out a ton of that. We've given out a ton to a lot of big developers, and we've also given out
Like we had.
$2 million in facade grants, but that's all physical.
Right, and I don't think we should do that.
Okay,
mean,
I get what you're saying.
I spent $300,000 building out upper floors at the Milwaukee Center, that our business paid for that. We didn't go to the city. We were
Right,
across the
tenant
city road,
improvements.
We didn't go to
Yep.
the city.
So this is important, and the reason I say it's important is because CDA does want to look at like white boxing, which Milwaukee has. They have grants where they, because the spaces on the inside are so non-conducive to tenants, they give they give a bit of money so that the developer or the building owner can whitewash it, upgrade the electricity. I'm just saying, and that is a program that's out there that they're looking at, and so that again is physical development. So if the majority of a planning commission thinks we should not be participating in funding or subsidizing physical development, then that is important.
Yeah, I don't think we should be paying.
I'm okay with that.
Interior, I don't think we should.
I'm fine with that. I'm more focused on the business, but it's up to the rest of the planning commission.
I mean, that's my choice,
But that doesn't fall under what's the most important economic development goal.
right, I would like to
Right.
see more than come here without us having.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So more commercial activity without subsidy for physical development. Development/improvements, is that correct? So you want to see more commercial activity, whether it be shops or,
I think the ultimate goal is actually to make the village more attractive. Because
but with, I think she's trying to say.
with the
without
goal
subsidy.
of
Yeah.
attracting, like, I think if you're gonna say, if you're gonna phrase it as a goal, you have to say, make the village more attractive to shops and restaurants, so that we aren't
You
paying
could
for
say
them.
increase commercial activity, that's an outcome, increase commercial activity without subsidy for physical development. Because she wants to get at, she wants the activity to come without any money going into the buildings.
Well,
Which I don't disagree.
our previous things was to, about the aesthetics and the.
So I think you're right,
character.
increased commercial
So, yeah,
activity is the same as more attractive.
Right,
But
like, I
the
mean,
goal
if you're
is
gonna
to
say,
increase
because
your
they're
commercial
asking
activity.
for what do you want as a goal for the next 3 years, and
I don't think it's more attractive, I think it's, what is the end goal, is to increase the amount of commercial activity you have, is that correct?
well, it's different, I guess, but in my mind,
Yeah, and commercial activity is kind of a loose
No.
yeah.
term. I don't want, the dollar store here.
Okay,
Yeah.
true. So what,
I think,
it's not more attractive though, because that's not the end goal, it's just being attractive. The end goal is, what is the outcome is, you're trying to attract what? Commercial activity might not be the right word, but, could be commercial, preferred, you could say preferred, doesn't mean you have to say what it is, but to increase preferred commercial activity. And then you can define preferred activity.
Well, attractive, not in necessarily the design sense, but attractive, and it's a good business environment, whether it's open your first or location or your second location.
Let's just do it this way, because we can't define every single thing we want here, right, in this question, but is it the goal, do we think it's important that we have more commercial businesses and or development as an outcome?
I think so.
Okay, so, so increased commercial, did I say businesses and development? And then do you want to add without the use, without subsidy of physical development? I'm fine
Or
with
just
that.
with, some fiscal control on the.
Yeah, so fiscal control.
That's a good word, very good, Commissioner Klein, I like that. So with increased fiscal control on subsidies.
Mhm.
I like that. I think it gets the message across. Do you think it's okay, Bert?
So I have increased commercial business and development with increased fiscal control on subsidies. And my pen is running out, so I need to just either borrow some or run downstairs.
I've got about 4.
All right. Everybody okay with that? Commissioner Blankenship? You sure? You different view, you can voice that one right now. We're open. Open for business here. All right, do we just get one?
Yep.
Okay. Number 2, what is the most important economic development outcome that you would like to see the village achieve in the next 4 to 10 years? Oh, I see. So not just 1 to 3.
So right, short term, now this is long term,
Or midterm.
or midterm.
Yeah.
There's only 2 terms here, those.
Oh, this is funny. Rehab existing buildings. See, now I wouldn't agree with that. I would say to have a program to help entrepreneurs open businesses. I'm assuming that was for me, Miss Kelly.
The older one.
Okay, that's exactly the opposite of what you just said. I'm just joking.
I know this. Well, it's assisting them with state and federal grant applications.
So what happens in economic development in a 1 to 3 year window versus a 10-year window?
I would say 1 to 3 years, I think we nailed it. You can curb your programs, you can, and try to increase activity. But if there's like a larger one, like we want to expand our district, or we want to recruit, certain amount of office development, or that's gonna take I believe longer.
So this to me would be where we focus our contiguous.
That is correct, so to
And aesthetics.
prioritize
Character.
any,
Yeah.
so what you
Character
could say is
part.
prioritize any redevelopment to include, improve the contiguous nature of our corridor, something like
And
that.
community character, which
Yeah.
used to be
Right.
part of our.
Whatever that was that we thought was important,
Yeah.
right?
Because
So
it would take the 10 years to develop that community character as
Right.
things get replaced or
Yes.
moved, you say, oh, now you have to follow this.
Right, like, so you say, what did I say? Say it again.
I have prioritized redevelopment to improve contiguity and community character.
Of the commercial district, right?
Yes.
Because that's what we're focusing on, is to improve continuity, contiguous, what is that? Is that continuity? What is
And
that?
contiguity, if that's a word.
It's, yes,
Contiguous
to-
spaces.
whatever that is, we'll look that one up, right, Bart? But it is meaning like so that it is contiguous. I don't know if continuity is the same word, but okay. And right, to develop, yeah,
Community
continuity
character.
and community character.
I don't think we're looking to expand the commercial districts.
No, I actually, if you really want to know the truth, I want to make it smaller. I think it should just be Oakland. Personally, I mean, you can't, it's way, for our size village, it's like having 2 main streets in a half a mile. I mean, it's just a lot to try to concentrate your efforts. It would be way better off with just Oakland Avenue, but the bid would never do that because then they lose all those assessments.
Yep.
Well, I love that.
But I do think we should
I'm happy
concentrate.
about the Hayek and the.
I do like that too.
So it's, you know what I mean, it's
Oh, it
starting
doesn't mean to
like
take away
become
commercial
contiguous.
zoning. Doesn't mean take away commercial zoning. It just means if that was your goal for the, that is a very hard goal to achieve in 10 years if you're gonna do both Oakland and Capitol. Because Capitol has a lot of spaces. It doesn't mean you can't allow commercial in the spaces that are zoned for that. It just means your efforts to make a contiguous corridor, like a main street, would be focused.
Yeah, we still miss Hayek's, but I love that the
Oh, they're
owner of the
redeveloping.
building, to the best of my knowledge, is
Sunset First.
spending his own money or whatever money financing required to redo
Oh, I'm sure
the
they're gonna get
apartments
the soccer.
and, to do the downstairs, whether it becomes for a sign grant or whatever. That's,
I'm not, yeah, but like I said, to be clear, I'm not saying take away all commercial zoning.
Oh,
Wilson
right.
Drive has commercial zoning as well. I just feel like if you're gonna have a business district and an organization that's targeting it, and you have a village who might give out incentives, and your goal is to become contiguous, stick with a mile-long corridor. You don't need two of them.
Okay, are we on to the next section?
All right, so what was our answer to this one?
Prioritize redevelopment to improve contiguity or contiguous something, and community character of the commercial district.
Can you just, for my purposes, not from the plan commission, can you just jot down so when I'm at CEA, I remember to say that? Under that question, from my personal.
Well, and then this will be submitted online with the plan commission's, note. The plan commission's answer to this question was this.
Can you do you remember if there's individuals that had a different opinion?
Correct, yep.
Can you do a footnote, just say President Rozak? I've always wanted to say that and I always forget to.
So you want to discuss
I
the
think one of
concept
the most
of,
important things is also to shrink, I don't want to say shrink, but
Well, focus.
concentrate.
Focus is in a concentrated
Yep,
area.
concentrate.
the district,
Concentrate the district, or it is
or the district's efforts, or efforts within a
On
portion or
Oakland.
something.
Okay,
I
thank you.
footnoted that for you, correct.
Good.
So then, moving on, because we do have other items on the agenda as well.
Okay, sure. So now we're up to,
So 6, the answer is yes.
okay? Housing,
7,
strengths.
3 strengths.
All right, do we have any strengths? Do we have any that overlap?
My 3 goals that I submitted were, first, I had our strengths with a variety of architectural styles, the single-family, duplex, and multifamily. 2, the walkable neighborhoods, close proximity to all those things. And 3 was the good schools.
All right, so
that
what
make
are
the
your-
village attractive to young
Yes.
families and so on.
The greatest strengths of your housing, I heard you, thank you very much about that. It's not the price. Resale value is huge.
Yeah, they're well maintained, it's great housing stock.
It is, it's the diversity, okay, so what would we say about that? Because there are some overlapping. We have well-maintained, well-built craftsmanship and diversity
And
of
diversity.
the housing stock.
Yep,
So maybe you put those 3 together.
all 3 of them.
One of the strengths is the diversity, the craftsmanship, and the
Range, the types.
Right.
that's diversity, right? Diversity of type.
Well, she's
So the
talking
physical stock
their
is
styles
a
and
strength, right? In
Yeah.
terms of its maintenance, its craftsmanship, and its
Yes.
diversity. The physical
Is that
stock
right,
is a,
Commissioner Klein?
And diversity could be architectural as well as
Yes,
Physical
because
is
architectural.
multifamily.
Okay, and design,
People want their bungalow, Shorewood's got beautiful bungalows,
type,
So type is important,
type.
quality is important, well-maintained, so quality of the design, right?
Mhm.
Well-maintained.
The
And then-
upkeep,
And then you have, from the lake, very large to some very
Right.
small,
so size,
that kind
so
of.
it's diversity, size, and size. I have to say too, the diversity also includes, I don't want to say income levels or price, because, or rental. We have 56% is rental, and I do believe that's a positive, because,
Single family, duplex, multifamily.
and that goes to the type, which we've mentioned.
does it go to type?
the rental versus.
You can buy.
Duplex versus
Yeah.
I
condo
know.
versus flat versus
Type
single
would be to
family.
me like, all right, I just feel like rental versus owner is something different, but. Okay, and the reason I say that is because we have so much rental stock, we have a diversity of population. And that is something I've heard from the residents that they cherish, is that our population is not, you know, all the same, we're not homogeneous, that we have that diversity in our population. In order to get that, you need to have diversity in your rental and homeownership market. Okay, you got that all under one?
Yep, I have physical stock in terms of type, size, and style.
Size and style. Okay, that's physical. Then we have, what's the strength?
The
When it comes to-
location, there's like,
Location could be, yep,
because you
to,
have the walkability, the near proximity to lakes and parks.
yep, okay, so location and then proximity to natural amenities, metropolitan center, or whatever we use for that other term. Anything else? And, no, schools wouldn't be proximity.
Natural,
And cultural.
natural assets that we've got.
Cultural, so you have
Natural
natural,
and walkability, I think, brings a lot of elements that I think are important. The neighborhood connecting, connecting neighborhoods, sidewalks, streetlights.
yes, sidewalks is important, so the housing stock is located, how it's located, how it's densely located.
It's dense, but you have sidewalks so people have a place to connect.
Right, yes, and versus the suburbs that some of them don't build sidewalks, I get what you're saying.
That's not Fox Point.
Urban in character? I don't know how to explain
I
that.
don't like the word.
No, I don't either. But I do think, whatever you have for that one for a second, I do think resale value in the schools are huge. And I don't know how to say that, but the resale values are huge because someone that pays $400,000 for their house on the west side, say, knows that within they're put up to the market in 3 days, and get the same money back. And that is a big factor, at least for many of the people that I've talked to.
Except, I guess that's where I go back to when we were talking about housing and increasing affordable housing to reduce the cost. Is that reducing the value of some of these?
No.
Okay,
I just meant
that's
supply. I meant nothing about, so what, all they were saying is, if you don't add some units, whether, we don't have anywhere else to build a single-family home. There's no land. And so in order to get those single-family homes, even to increase their value, you would have to build, so say you wanted seniors to stay in your community, their houses don't have senior amenities, like they're on 2 floors rather than one. One of the ways is to build affordable housing for seniors, so the income isn't too great, they can afford it, because the house is paid for. They can afford it, but they also would have the amenities that they need, and then that housing stock, that supply is open. So you have more for sale, rather than just 2 houses every 4 months for sale, and that's why the prices keep going up.
Or if you had programs to turn duplexes into condominiums rather than apartments, every single
Well, that's supply.
Yeah.
So I was just shocked at what we found out from the housing study, but that is true, that would help
Yeah.
to get people to move condominiums, or have a duplex and make it a triplex, now that's adding supply. But anyways, it was a hard concept for me to grasp. But I do think that the resale value is something, and I think the schools are something that are very
Well,
beneficial.
schools are tied to resale value. I mean, if you have bad schools, you're not gonna have resale
So we
value.
get 3, right? Can you read the first 2?
I have number 1, physical stocks. Number 2, location.